elites are finished. I have awakened, and I will bring 5D to Earth and destroy the elites. Please join me every Wednesday and Saturday on this channel for a live guided interdimensional meditation to activate the solar flash ascension. It's completely free. If you can't be there for the live stream, you can go to the live section on the YouTube channel and you can watch them and meditate with us when it's convenient. Question your reality and then change it. ThunderWizard.com is the website that supports this YouTube channel. Check out all the ways that you can subscribe, empower yourself, and support the channel. Books are at michaelwilliamdenny.com. Atum Meditation is now available. It's free for subscribers at the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong or higher, or you can just go to the thunderwizard.com shop for that guided meditation video with very powerful seed sounds. Will teach you how to become the ruling God of your universe. Lastly, we have herbs.thunderwizard.com to help your body empower, be healed, and another way to help your physical body shift up because of the higher dimensional energies that are hitting us. So the elites are finished. I have awakened. I am no longer in any doubt over who I am. I understand how it works. I understand the difference between my third dimensional self and my higher dimensional powerful self that is working to bring 5D to Earth and destroy the elites. So I have a question for you, which is, are you prepared to see the true power that you have? Are you prepared to see beyond this third dimension? Are you prepared completely and totally and finally? Are you prepared to drop any of your victim mentality? Are you ready to tap into the power that you have always had? I do have a list of things that we are going to talk about today, and I'm going to be sharing with you the thought process that has helped me to crystallize even more where I'm at. So stay for the entire video. I'll do my best to try and avoid going off on tangents. So let me tell you again how this universe works. And it's extremely important if you're listening to me and you hold on to any belief. I understand why you have it, because that is your third dimensional perception. I understand it completely. But if you hold on to any belief that you are in any way victimized by anything outside of you, to the extent that you hold that belief and you indulge in it and you act upon it, you are working against your ability to shift into 5D. The reality of how the science of the energy works is that you cannot hold on to fear, anger, resentment, greed, any attachments to that lower 3D reality, but especially victim mentality, the belief that gods are doing it to you, the universe is doing it to you, even other people. And I'm not saying that people haven't hurt you. People have been very hurtful to me over my life, so I understand that. But the reality is that we live in a, if you want to call it a matrix, that's fine. We live in a 3D simulation. It is a video game. It has as much power over your actual self as an actual video game does to your 3D self. When you're playing a video game, right, you might get really involved in it, lose, win, whatever. But the moment that you put the controllers down and you walk away, that video game has no control over you. I mean, you might be thinking about it, but it doesn't prevent you from doing things that are impossible inside that video game. And that is exactly what's happening here. This third dimensional human life that we've been living is nothing more than a video game for the soul. It is a fully immersive virtual reality video game. That's it. And up until this point in human history, we have not been allowed to exit the game except through death, near-death experiences, and anything else that, maybe ayahuasca or something like that, which might take you out of briefly. But, those don't really work all that well. Until now, humans have not been able to just willingly choose to leave. And you can and still be a third dimensional being. And the thing that's going to be very, very challenging, unless you accept the definition that I'm telling you, which I haven't found in any scriptures, I haven't found it in anybody, nobody's told me what I now know, which is what I just got through saying, that this third dimensional reality and all of the things associated with it, including all of the pain, all of the tragedy, all of that is just part of the video game. Ghosts, demons, if you want to talk about you being attacked by demons, attacked by ghosts, I'm not going to argue with that, but I'm going to tell you it's part of the video game. It has as much actual effect on your true essence as monsters in video games have when you put the game down. So as long as you believe that, that will keep you in the game and you won't be able to leave. Because that belief is an attachment. Beliefs are attachments. That's why Christianity is based on belief. That's why they call it a faith. They don't call it a spiritual practice. They call it a faith. In fact, they tell you it doesn't matter what you do. You can be as evil as you want. As long as you believe the right thing, you're saved. What they mean by saved is as long as you have the correct belief, you'll be attached to the video game. So that's not how our ancestors used to look at spirituality, by the way, but that's another video. So I want you to at least entertain that. I want you to examine your feelings right now. Do you have fear? Do you have anxiety? Do you have anger? Whatever it is. I mean, I'm as human as you. I experience all those feelings as well. Those feelings are nothing more than what your avatar in the video game experiences. Nothing more than that. Get it? Does it make sense? Accept that, because nobody has ever explained that to me, and I realize that. And the reason why it's been so challenging for me to believe what the light beings have been telling me is because I've had the same understanding about reality as you have, which is we believe this is the base reality. We believe this is real. And so in this reality, if according to your understanding, some being of light, some false being of light traps you in a reincarnation matrix, I'm here to tell you that that being, if it exists, is part of the matrix. If you believe that that demons exist, if you believe in anything negative, even if you believe, which your senses have told you, that other people have the power to ultimately damage you and harm you, that is part of the video game. And so we need power outside of the video game to give us the strength to overcome our experiences here. Not to deny them. I'm not telling you to deny your experience, to overcome them. And what we're going to be talking about is how to become a god. This is what this meditation is, the Atlantean Egyptian path to becoming God, which you can get at thethunderwizard.com, the Atum Ra, self-created, become the god of your universe. That's what that's about. Because what the fifth dimension is, what the shift is, what ascension is, however you want to look at it, the new world is going to be populated with gods who are having a third dimensional video game experience, and they're fully aware of that, which means that they can go out and actually change the game from the inside or from the outside. But in order for that to happen, Imagine somebody who actually believed that their 3D video game, their metaverse thing was real. Imagine if they thought it was real. And you didn't have the ability to, pull the mask off of them. They have to do it themselves. And they might be able to hear you. You might be even be able to, message them inside the game and bring up messages. If they don't choose to believe and understand and take action on the fact that they are in a fully immersed video game, there's nothing anybody can do. And that is the case here. That's what the split is. The split is very simply, people will wake up to the fact that they are in a video game and they have power over it, and they always have. And they'll wake up to their true identity outside of this third dimension. Everybody's going to be, in a different place. Not everybody might be at, where I'm at. I'm quite aware that outside of this third dimensional video game, I'm actually a god, very powerful deity, doing all kinds of things. I have so much power, I can change the rules of the game down here. I didn't know that all my life. I didn't know that. I now know that. And I know how to go do that. We do that every time we do the live guided meditations. We're going out and we're changing the video game from the outside. So in order for you to be able to get to that power, you have to at least begin to accept the possibility. You don't have to be fully convinced, but just accept the possibility that this is a video game. Nobody's out to get you. You chose to come. You programmed the game. You put the code in there. You are choosing to play it, and you can choose to stop playing it. You can still be human and stop playing the game. So we're going to be talking about that. All right, so the elites are finished, and we'll get into it. The elites are finished. They're done. And I'm here to tell you, I'm taking them out. I'm going to take them all out. And there's nothing they can do to stop me. There's nothing they can do to prevent it. They don't even know it's coming. They have no idea that I exist. They have no idea that I'm the thing that they need to fear the most. I'm the most damaging, destructive force to their entire existence, and they have no idea about it. All right, so August 14th, during our live meditation, we shifted a timeline closer to the 5D shift. Now, I've talked about this. I talked about it afterwards. It was just, to me, a normal interdimensional meditation, except that there was something very powerful. I felt a strong intensity about it when we sent the Huar breath through the portal to the sun. Something very powerful, and if you go back and watch it, at some point I say something like, we're sending the solar flash now, or something like that. And I felt motivated to do that, and I did it. I wasn't attached to it. I didn't care if it was real or not. It was just my intention. But something happened. I felt it. I think other people also felt it. And physically, there were some meridian points, some acupuncture points on my abdomen that became really sore, like sore to the touch. And I thought I had hurt myself. And, I took some time off because I said I got to let my body heal. And what happened is that because of who I am out there, in the ethers, my true identity out there, I am directly connected to Earth. I'm directly connected to what is happening with the Earth. And so what we did in that meditation is we shifted to a completely different timeline. And so the Earth had to transform. And so the Earth was transforming. The 3D video game was completely reorienting itself, which is Earth is the manifestation of the game. And the points on my body were directly associated with the higher spiritual transformation of the earth element. So the earth was in a state of transformation in my body because I'm directly connected to the earth. and I'm intimately connected to her. I can feel what's happening to her. So my body was telling me that, wow, there was a massive amount of energy that just hit Earth. Now, it took me a while to figure out what that meant. I didn't understand what happened. I thought, something really bad had happened to me, but it was actually just my body reflecting. The Earth was like, whoa, we just shifted her, and she was getting herself aligned to the new timeline. So it shifted us closer to the 5D shift. And what happened immediately after that August 14th meditation is the light beings came to me, and they were celebrating. And they were like, you did it. I'm like, I did what? You did it. You defeated the elites. You destroyed them. It's all downhill from here. And I said, I don't see it. We're still dealing with it, Biden this and that and the thing and the people and the all that. It's still going on. And they're like saying, watch what happens. Watch what's going to happen. What they meant was like in the next couple of days. Watch what's going to happen. And within a couple of days, Trump got got that new little piercing in his ear. And I realized what had happened. I mean, it took a while to sink in, but I realized that we prevented a civil war. Now, the predictions had been, channelers and psychics, but also in astrology, the prediction was very clear. If you looked at Trump's chart, he was going to get unalived. And that would have meant, and it would have been orchestrated, but that would have meant civil war. Because as it turns out, more than half of the country would have completely lost it. Not necessarily, it would have been one thing if he had legitimately lost the election. I don't know what would have happened then, but that's not the same as having your guy who's more than half of the country is supporting, having clearly being taken out by the dark forces who and what would have happened after that is that would have caused a civil war, which would have if you had been paying attention, the Pentagon has already changed the laws so that the United States military can be used against American citizens. And they did that because that's been the plan the whole time. We averted that. When we did that meditation, we changed that. That's how powerful you are. Do you get it? Because everybody else is inside the game. There's plenty of people in there that are shifting their mindset and they're awakening themselves, and all of that feeds into it. Don't get me wrong, all of that feeds into it, but they're still within the game. We were outside of the game and we changed it. We changed the timeline. That timeline shifted us up. Because if we hadn't done anything, like I'm going to say something very, grandiose. If I hadn't have been awakened by my interaction with light beings, and they hadn't successfully been able to awaken somebody else, because not everybody's, I had to ask for it. So if somebody hadn't stepped in and I hadn't, if I had rejected that experience, and I've seen people reject the experience before. I mean, I know somebody I know I have a lot of respect for, very spiritually evolved guy, and they came to him and he said, I don't want it. And he pushed them away. I could have done that. And if I had done that, then all of the work that we've done either would have had to been done by somebody else or wouldn't have happened. So what would have had to happen is that the level of negativity that would have had to come about on planet Earth would have been so oppressive in order to wake people up. But because we averted that, we created a space. And if you're watching what's happening, everything's going to change again, they're going to fight back, but we've got the upper hand now, because what's happening literally in the 3D world is unheard of. And we've never seen anything like what's about to happen in the 3D political world. Watch. Agree with me, don't agree with me, but remember I told you. All right, so we shifted the timeline. So, and then we had the Atlas comets. So you remember October 6th, I thought I was going to leave the planet. Again, sometimes I misinterpret, because the light beings are living in what they perceive to be reality. And they perceive to be our reality to be a dream. They perceive it to be a video game. They perceive it not to be real. So when they say something literally is going to happen, I think it's going to happen in 3D. And they oftentimes don't explain that to me, or I'm not able to understand it or hear it. But the light beings showed me that that I was going to go through a major transformation, that I was going to wake up, and that I was going to become this very powerful deity, and all this other stuff. They didn't. They don't. They might do this because it's important to them, because they want me to wake up to their reality. But they didn't say, yeah, but that's not going to happen in 3D. That's going to happen in the ethereal realm. They started telling me all these things I was going to become, and they told me, October 6th. October 6th is going to be important, and you're going to be lifted up out of your body, and you're going to, all this other stuff. And I interpreted it the best I could, thinking, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave this planet. And so I wasn't told that the solar flash was coming on the 6th. I thought maybe the solar flash is coming. Well, I'm going to get ready to go. And you guys remember that. I wrote a note to my landlord, and I literally packed my bags, and so that whoever came in to clean out my stuff didn't have a whole lot to do, and because I was going to have to leave anyway. October 6th came and went, and I knew that October 6th there was going to be the Atlas comet was going to come by the sun, and something karmic was going to be released, because I knew that was a fragment of the comet that hit Earth because of what I did in Atlantis. And I knew something like that was coming. So another one came later. If you remember, there was a second fragment of an Atlas comet, and it actually was destroyed. It went towards the sun, and it got so close it burned up and was destroyed. And so I knew that those had very powerful karmic releases, and that they were going to have an effect on me and release me back to what I was before. And sure enough, that's when I had contact, and the results of that I've had, there's been a while where I've been waking up more and more and more and more to my past life as King of Atlantis and all the stuff that happened there. I've gone through all the mourning, and I've released it all. And then my most recent contact with the Lemurians, who are, my cousins, my family members, and they were like, "Are you back? You left Earth. I mean, you left. You didn't have to get knocked down to the lower frequency. You could have stayed with us." And you chose to dive down because you wanted to save humanity from a worse hell. And you've been down there ever since, and you took the risk that you wouldn't come back, because there was a very real risk that you'd forget who you were. I mean, I almost didn't make it. I almost didn't make it back. If I hadn't gotten that weird, bug up my rear end about ETs and wanting to figure out what the CE5 was about. And if I hadn't kept doing it, because I couldn't hear, I was so bogged down in 3D. The lights were flying around me and I couldn't see it. They were talking to me and I couldn't hear it. I've got it recorded. They were doing stuff and I couldn't see it and I couldn't hear it. There was a real risk I wasn't going to make it back. But I'm back now. And I've made the decision to believe what's happening and to believe my experiences, the energies that's hitting me, the communication that's hitting me. And since I've made that determination to believe it, everything has shifted. Everything has changed in me. There's a negativity in me that's gone. It's just permanently gone. So, the Atlas comments have reawakened my Atlantis past life memories. Contact with Lemurians has finished my past life activation. So the live Huar chanting is drastically speeding up the earth split. So now it all makes sense why my light being friend here taught me the Huar mantra, or retaught it to me. I might have known it before and forgotten it, but in any case, transmitted that to me. It wasn't just him giving me some cool little thing to meditate on. He was giving me the power to shift the earth to 5D. It is the single most powerful tool we have. If you're chanting this mantra, you are shifting the earth to 5D. Nothing else can do it. The light beings can't do it. Human beings, it would take a monumental awakening of human beings to shift their focus. And, human beings aren't at 5D yet. They're barely starting to see what 3D is. They're barely starting to wake up to that. So we need a power. We need a magical power. There's nothing more powerful in the universe. This is the single most powerful tool there is, specifically for shifting 3D to 5D. I now know this. So the live Huar chanting is drastically speeding up the earth split. The live Huar meditations are the most powerful force in the 3D universe. All of you who are doing live meditations are gods, but you are experiencing your karmic 3D shift destiny. So just as I've awakened I have a destiny. I mean, as I've told you, they told me in the very beginning, when I first started working with them, almost from the beginning, they said, we have something to tell you. It's going to be very hard to hear. You were once a very powerful king, and you misused your power, and as a result of that, you created the infrastructure for the dark force elites that are running this earth. You're going to become king because you have a karmic duty to shift the earth back to where it was. So it wasn't just, hey, look at you, you're king. It's like, no, man, you made a mess, you got to clean it up. So you have to have the power, you have to have the authority to be able to do that. And so what has been one of the most difficult things for me to comprehend is the level of power that I have in my ethereal body. It's unreal. It's on the level, I mean, you guys know it, I've said it, but the first major upgrade I got, this extremely powerful being, gave me a title. He said, "You're the Supreme Lord of this universe." And it broke me because I had no idea. Now, you tell that to me now, it makes sense, because only somebody with that kind of authority can go out in his astral body and completely change Earth's 3D manifestation. It's not like, when we hear about prophecies like this, there have been prophecies, every religion has a prophecy about somebody who's going to come and bring the new world, and we idealize them as, and Jesus, who is a made-up figure, walked on water, and, we look back at the avatars of Vishnu and we idealize them, when in fact, the ninth avatar of Vishnu was Buddha, who was a real person, and he was completely human. There's a lot of scriptures about him doing all these fantastical things, but the reality is that he was very human, and he ate meat, and he was very sick. He died of a disease. He died of a horrible illness that killed him. But he was the avatar of Vishnu. He was God on earth, and he brought an awakening and a liberation that to this day, is, among the popular religions and practices, Zen Buddhism, Buddhist meditation, all of that, the Tibetan Buddhism. That's because there was a human being that was a vessel for Vishnu. But if you were to have met him, you might have had a powerful experience with him, but you would have seen him just walk around and have to wipe his rear end and sleep and do all the things that normal humans do. It would have been no different. It's because the third dimensional reality is not base reality. So we have this idea that if God shows up in the third dimension, it's whoa, but no, if God has to come and play the game, he's going to pick up the controller and he's going to take on an avatar like everybody else. And maybe because of his karma, he might have more power and maybe he'll do miracles and who knows, whatever. I don't have that karma. In fact, because I misused my power when I was king of Atlantis, because of that, I'm not allowed to have that kind of power. I was told that very early on. I mean, before I even knew what was going on, I was practicing the first day that I learned the Mao Shan practices, and I was doing the 10 weapons, which I haven't publicly taught yet. But I was doing the 10 weapons postures, and I felt this energy, which I know now is higher dimensional energy. I felt a being on my left, which I now know is a Lemurian, because Lemurians are always on my left, and they're there to warn me so that I don't make mistakes and harm myself. And this being showed me in my mind, I saw a nuclear bomb going off, and they said, this is the power that you are tapping into, and if you abuse it, it will be taken from you, but you have been chosen to learn this. And boom, it's gone. Well, now all of that makes sense. Now I know why. It always kind of bothered me. Like, what is this? If you abuse the power, will take it away from you. Why would you say that to me? Like, I'm not going to abuse it. I'm not a violent person. Well, it's because I have a history of doing that. I have a history of taking power, and they remember that. I didn't remember it, so it was kind of hurtful to me. Somebody would say that. But now it makes perfect sense. Maybe at the very least they were reminding me. Maybe they knew I wasn't going to abuse it, but they said that to remind me. And, I've had other times when beings have come to me and said, so let's play a game. And I'm like, okay, so let's pretend that you have ultimate power and you can do absolutely anything. If you could pick between power and wisdom, which would you pick? And I always take this very seriously. And I go, well, I think I'd pick wisdom, because wisdom gives you the ability, if you're strong and you're not wise, you don't really have power. So I'd prefer wisdom. And I said, yeah, good. You'd pass the test. They do these kinds of things to me, which seem kind of childish, but now it all makes sense. So I'm, as you can tell, I'm not blown away. I'm not puffed up about it. This is just who I am. It's just my soul experience in this multiverse. And out there, the reason why I have so much power is because I need to have the power to clean up my mess. Not because I'm righteous and perfect. It's because, no, man, they're just giving me the tools to do what I need to do to balance out my karma. That's it. I've always said this about healers. If somebody has the ability to heal people and they take it on, they think it's because they're so spiritual. It's no. If you're a healer, like you go and you heal massive amounts of people, every single one of those people you healed was somebody that you killed in a previous life. So, people with spiritual powers, they get spiritual powers because they made some mistakes last time around or sometime in the past, and they're just balancing it out. And that's all I'm doing. But the end result is out there I've got the powers of the most powerful being in this universe. Now, as long as I use my powers toward what I'm here to do, which is to shift the Earth to 5D, I've got basically unlimited power to do that. I don't have the power to do all kinds of other things. In fact, the moment if I tried to take that power and do something else with it, it would be taken from me. I would probably lose my awareness and they'd give it to somebody else. So I'm saying this because if you are doing these meditations, it means that you have some karmic destiny. You've chosen to be here and you have a karmic destiny and you have chosen to be given the power, and you've been drawn to this channel and you've been drawn to these practices because of who you are outside of the third dimension. And that's why I'm constantly, doing things in meditation to get you to awaken and see how they see you and who you are. And you're not going to be me. But you're going to have some, equally important role, and you might have a huge amount of power as a result of it. So open yourself up to that is my hope and my suggestion for you. And the fastest way to do that is to do the practices and do the meditations. All right, so the live Huar chanting is drastically speeding up Earthship. Live Huar meditations are the most powerful. Okay, so all the people doing live meditations are gods with karmic 3D shift destinies. Let me just stop there for a second. Again, I want you to actively look at your beliefs. Do you think you're just a soul who is punished, who has karma, you're forced to reincarnate because you're karma or because somebody forced you to do it? That's the tiny little soul. And that's not who you are. You're a god. If you were to look at, if you want to believe in evil draconians, if you want to believe in false beings of light, you go right ahead. If they exist and you own yourself and you look them in the face, they will run. The first time that I did an exorcism, I was 15 years old. And a friend of mine got fully possessed to the point where he not only did his behavior change, but his face transformed. I watched his face completely transform into a demon right in front of me. And I don't know where it came from, but I put my hand on his chest and I started, telling the demon, I'm looking you right in the eye. And he was scared to death of me. And I thought it was because there was like an angel behind me or something, but he was that demon was absolutely scared to death of me. And it's because of who I am outside of this 3D reality. Not everybody can do that. I'm aware of that. Everybody's got their own past and their own, but now it all makes sense. So if you're a god and you're doing this stuff, you got to drop all of the fear. You got to drop all the negativity and the self victim mentality, because as long as you do that, you're wrapped up in the game. Now, if I had gotten afraid, if I had allowed myself to become afraid of that demon, who knows what would have happened? Because then I would have been trapped within the game. Got it? So just make the decision that you're a god and stop screwing around with worrying about being a human being and being a tiny little soul that's forced to be here in karma and sin and all that bullshit. Just decide to drop that. If you're doing these practices and you're doing these meditations with me, I guarantee you have the power of a god. You just have to wake up to it. So we have the power to destroy the elites and make room for humans working to bring 5D. Again, people have gotten their panties in a bunch because I've talked about my thoughts and my experiences about this latest election. As you all know, if you go back in time, I had Trump derangement syndrome. I thought he deserved to be put in prison. And I did a rune reading on him, expecting to see that the runes were going to tell me that he was going to go to prison, and the runes told me something different. And that was in the beginning of his first term. And actually, I don't remember when it was, but it was during his first term, and I looked at it, and the runes said that he was going to cooperate, that there was going to be cooperation, and that he was going to have great success. And I didn't see that. That's when he was getting, impeached and all kinds of things, and they were coming at him, and the Russia Gate, and I believed all of it. And I said, how can that be possible? This guy's evil. Well, I don't see him that way anymore. I don't see him as being perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but if you pay attention to what he's talking about everything that I've been talking about, and I didn't even know about it. I didn't even know that he is looking into getting rid of income tax. I didn't know that he was looking to bring back tariffs to get rid of income tax. I didn't know that, I never saw him getting together with RFK Jr., who's going to go after Big Pharma. I never saw him getting together with Elon Musk, who's going to go in and get rid of a lot of bureaucracy. I didn't see him going in and trying to get rid of the head of the Fed. He knows a lot more than he's telling. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows and as soon as he got elected, all of the bigwigs around the world lined up to kiss his ass and started talking about ending wars. I mean, they all started talking about ending wars the moment he showed up. So look, I see that as exactly what I've been intending, and he's the person through which it's going to come in the physical realm. But make no mistake, we did that. We did that because we altered the past. We prevented his unalivement. And actually that spurred him on more. If he didn't know before who the enemy was, he does now. And they can't control him. Like me or don't like me, you want to unsubscribe from my channel, go right ahead. I wish you all the best. I have no negative feelings for you, but I'm not going to play this, this game of, we're not in, this isn't, 20 years ago when politics really didn't matter all that much, and whichever side you picked really didn't matter. This one matters. And this could be the beginning of the destruction of the governmental institutions, which is what I'm planning on helping to create. So we have the power to destroy the elites and make room for humans working to bring 5D. So that's my point. I'm not really focused on who does what. I'm very excited. I was very excited to see all that come together. I mean, and it happened after August 14th. It happened after us doing these live guided meditations. It happened after all of these solar storms started hitting Earth. That's when, RFK showed up and Elon Musk showed up, and they all started coming together despite their differences to get rid of the dark force elites. They may not understand as much as I do about them, but they understand enough. And I'm going to do my part. I don't need any credit for it, but I'm going to do my part. And I am the one that has the power. And you do as well if you're doing these meditations. We have the power to completely destroy the elite. And now that I've seen it and the amount of energy that has come in through me ever since, especially the past week, my level of power out there is getting greater and greater and greater. And I'm going after them. And I'm not going to stop until they're completely destroyed. And I'll tell you, this to me is a fight. Now, I have taken on a vow of nonviolence. I did that very early on in my life, and I started practicing martial arts not because I wanted to fight, but because I didn't want to fight, because I had so much rage within me. I'll tell you a story. This was when I was in my mid-20s. I weighed probably 175 pounds. I was living in Carson, California, South Central LA, and I had this mohawk back when a mohawk meant something, and I was went to the local, not the 7-Eleven, but the local liquor store to get some whatever it was. I think chocolate milk or something like that. And I'm there, and this Samoan gang leader comes in. Now, if maybe you don't know anything about the Samoan gangs down in that part of LA, but they were, I don't know what's going on now, but these were, and they're people you don't want to mess with. You do not want to, you don't even want to go toe to toe with these guys. And this guy walked in and he gave me the stink eye, and something in me snapped. And I looked at him, again, 175 pound white guy with a mohawk. And I looked at him and I made the decision that I was going to unalive that guy. And something in me said, if you do that, you'll die. And I said, I don't care. If he doesn't look away, I'm going to have to unalive him. And it wasn't that I thought I was going to be able to duke him out. I was going to bite his throat, tear out his jugular. I was going to do whatever it took. and I didn't care if it killed me. And it took over me. And I looked at him, and it was, you play that game, the person who looks away first, and he had this look, and then he got this look on his face, and all the blood drained out of his face, and I've never seen anybody look so frightened in his life. And he put his head down and he turned around. If he had a tail, it would have gone between his legs, and he walked out. And that scared the crap out of me. The look on his face scared the crap out of me. And it was things like that made me train in martial arts, not because I wanted to fight, but because I wanted to be able to never feel so threatened that part of me came out. And so that was, I spent a lot of time working on that, because I knew if I didn't, I would have potentially been, spend the rest of my life in prison, if not being, death by cop. The point I'm trying to make is I'm the kind of guy that if I go to war, I don't stop until the enemy is completely, totally, utterly destroyed. Physically, and again, I've never been in a physical fight outside of grade school, but if I were to get in one, you don't pull unless you're going to, pull the trigger, and you don't pull the trigger unless you're going to unalive somebody. So if I was to go into a physical confrontation, it would mean I wouldn't stop until I knew you weren't ever going to get up again. So because I never want to go to that place, I decided to become, that I would take a vow of nonviolence. But out there, what the dark forces are doing to my daughter, the earth, I will not stop until they are completely, utterly, irrevocably destroyed. All of my power is going to be focused on destroying them. So I welcome you to come along with me. That's why I say in the beginning of the meditations, you can focus on whatever you want. You want to focus on a happy earth with, unicorns and Skittles? By all means, please do that. Very, very necessary. You want to take all of your energy and put it towards actual spiritual warfare, and you want to destroy evil on this planet, more than welcome to link up with me when I do that. And when I'm doing the Huar breath, that's what I'm imagining. Complete, total devastation. And I will not stop until they are completely defeated. Want to come along? Every Wednesday and Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I've proven it to myself. What has happened over the past 6 months, or however long it's been since we started this meditation, has proven to me that what they've been telling me is the truth. I believe it now, and I'm not going to doubt it, because if I doubt it and I play that am I crazy game, I'm taking away power that could be used to liberate the planet and the human race that I have completely devoted myself to for the past 13,000 years. So I'm going to believe it. Worst case scenario, we get a bunch of meditation in and we awaken chi and kundalini. That's the worst thing that can happen to us. The best thing is we pummel them until they can't get up, until they're completely, totally destroyed. Is that everything? We have the power to destroy elites and make room for the humans working to bring 5D. So while I'm doing that, I don't get any credit for it. And the RFK Juniors and the Elon Musks and the Tulsi Gabbards and the Trumps can come together and they can clean the physical 3D game while I'm out there doing my job. And I've come to find out that at the very least that's what a king does. Whether I'm recognized as one is really not what matters. The king is the guy who's doing the work. I'm going to do it. I invite you to come along with me. All right, that's it, my friends. Thank you so much for the video as well. If you want to support the channel, you know what to do. Go to thunderwizard.com, subscribe, and or go to the shop and you can get all kinds of things at the shop, including the Becoming God meditation. And we'll talk more about it. Go to herbs.thunderwizard.com. I recommend just here, all of these things I recommend here. I put these on here because these are, if I was to put together, a package, I would put this together. Because these things you see here, ashwagandha, chaga mushroom, mushroom 10x, ginkgo biloba ginseng, fermented mushroom blend, those are all really, really powerful ways to help your body be able to handle the energy and to heal and to detox. But you don't have to get all of them. Start with the ashwagandha, start with the chaga or the mushroom 10x, or if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick the fermented mushroom blend. Anyway, but go check it out. There's all kinds of cool stuff there. And it's another way, if you're already getting supplements, is another way to get the supplements you're getting anyway and simultaneously supporting this war effort. That's it, my friends. I love you all. Thank you so much. It's only going to get more powerful from here. I'm awake. I know who I am. And I'm coming for him. All right, my friends. I'll see you next time. Take care.